Well, I hope you enjoyed the excellent adventure last week. Now, this week we are on marketing and prospecting. So that's generating new business, bringing in new business into the fray, and which is really where real estate starts. And so if you enjoyed last week, once again, we go again on Glenn and Ray's excellent Facebook Live adventure. And by the way, I don't often plug stuff on here, but if you are after some free extracurricular training, and this isn't enough, the Real Estate Renegades podcast, then you might want to consider going to realestatetraining.me. That's realestatetraining.me, and there's a free gift there. With a whole bunch of CDs, discs, trainings, audios, all this good fun stuff, and it's all for nothing. So head there, rock and roll. All right, for now, Glenn and Ray's excellent Facebook Live adventure, Volume 2. You want the normal real estate training you've been told a million times? Make cold calls, knock on doors. Best be switching off now, because in this podcast, we go out of the box using unknown tactics, primarily, that the real estate industry's never heard of, in order to get you called in more often, convert those listings, and get more success without the painful cold calling. Listen up, we're in for a ride. This is Real Estate Renegades. We're live on Glenn and Ray's Facebook Live adventure. I was given feedback yesterday, Ray, that look, see how you can see my screen in my glasses, because I can't see a damn thing. See that?
Yeah.
It's thing. Don't worry about all the good content. Don't worry about all the gold we dropped. Don't worry about the career-changing and revolutionizing information we provided. Glenn, I couldn't concentrate because I could see the screen. Oh, Ray, we failed at the mindset subject.
No.
We failed. If that's the feedback, we failed, my friend.
Are we getting any love here? Have we got?
Here we go. Oh, yeah,
do we have any peeps with their ears on?
Good morning, folks. We do. We'll do the romper room thing, Ray. Let's do it. I can see David and Naomi and Byron and Robert and Rochelle and Chrissy and Jesse James the second, because there's two Jesse Jameses. Do you know Jesse James from Ray White out at Redland Bay?
No, I don't.
Dude,
is he the guy that wears the cowboy hat?
Yeah,
Beautiful Cooper.
Beautiful. He's a guy who rode a bull to get listings. Today's subject, how to get more listing opportunities. Ride a bull called Widowmaker 8 seconds. Right? How about that? He employed a dude, and I thought he was taking the piss when he did. And the dude's name's Jesse James.
Yeah.
There are two Jesse Jameses in the same office, both cowboys. Freaking maniacs.
That's crazy.
Alan Pease is on. Can you believe, Ray Wood, that Alan Pease, best-selling author, probably the human who has sold more books on the subject of professional development, is on our freaking Facebook Live?
We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
What I'm going to do, right?
We are not worthy.
Alan Pease the link, and if he clicks on that and jumps on, sir, you are more than welcome to jump on, Mr. Pease, and join us. I'm just sending Alan the Zoom link. There's 1,000,000 to 1 shot that the great man will join us on this web training. But, sir, if you do, please do so. And I will just shut up and Alan Pease can talk all day.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh, very cool. So, yes, they are all on, Ray, to answer your question.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's just gone 5 p.m. here in beautiful Toronto. Just gone 7 a.m. in Melbourne, the city of love. And it's just gone. Are you in Vegas this morning?
In Perth once again, Ray. I just got back from, I was up at 3, and this is the thing.
Okay.
The mindset thing worked on me, Ray, because I was up at 3 a.m. this morning, Ray. I was pumped. I was out. I went to the gym. I did an hour walk. I did a 25-minute workout, and I was back here in order to do this to kickstart at 5 a.m. So
here's how juxtaposed we are on the, if that's the right word. Here's how we are on the planet. It's 5 p.m. here, and it's 5 a.m. there. So that tells me if I got in my Learjet, and if I flew to Perth, WA, it would be as far around the globe as I could go.
Well, I believe they call that an antipode, Ray. I believe they
back.
call opposite ends of the world an antipode.
Yeah.
So really what that means, that's the big word for it. But what that means, Ray, is I'm going to go outside and put a piece of bread on the ground, right? And you go outside and put a piece of bread on the ground.
Right.
And we'll have an earth sandwich.
Oh, man. Stop it.
How's that?
Yeah.
See, that's the level of my humor here at 5 a.m.
Well, did I? I don't know whether. Yeah, I think I did tell you that I got this amazing, because I love Indian food. I don't know if you love Indian food, but I'm a huge fan, and I got this recipe for naan bread,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd love to tell it to you, but I can't, because the guy who gave it to me made me sign a non-disclosure agreement.
All right.
So we're going to get into prospecting today, ladies and gentlemen.
Our comedy chops are sadly lacking, so let's go with let's go with how to get some listings. Hey, Ray, I reckon that's where we go.
Let me ask you something straight off the bat here to get the ball rolling with prospecting, because what I really want, and you and I were talking before we went live, what we really want is for people getting involved in this today, whether they're watching us live on this recording, or whether they are watching the recording on Facebook later during the day or tomorrow or whenever. We want you guys to get results as soon as you possibly can. Anytime in the next 10 minutes would be great. So if I was to ask you, Glenn, if I don't know, metaphorically, if I put a gun to your head, I'm trying to think of something dramatic. So I know that's not probably the best thing to say, but
we're holding, because I get where you're going. I've asked this question of a bunch of people.
Okay.
Let's say I'm holding Naomi's puppy in my hand here. He's a beautiful thing called Zorba.
Yep.
And her son Theo loves him dearly. He's just over there. So Zorba's there. So let's go with the question, Ray.
If Zorba's life was going to be threatened if you didn't get a listing today, I want to have something dramatic.
Yeah. Wow.
If you had to get a listing today, what would you do?
Wow, that's the best question ever. I asked John McGrath that question once, and he, with the dog to the gun to the kid, the God kid's head, and I did that for an hour. I asked our mutual friend Aaron Shiner. I asked every legend speaker that was speaking at this particular event, and they all gave me some really interesting answers. So my answer is, I would get a copy of that recording from me. I would watch it for an hour. Right? Now, that could include what we're going to do here today. What I'm saying is the metaphor of, if you've got 4 hours to chop down a tree, right? So what you're talking about is we've got 8 hours to get a listing.
Yep.
I'd spend at least an hour sharpening that axe, finding out what to do. So asking some people who know how to get a listing today, how to get a listing today. So I would spend the first hour. Then I would spend the next 7 hours doing whatever those mentors said, to the absolute greatest of my ability. So if there was a gun to Zorba's head, in reality, what I would do is go to realestate.com. I would find every listing. Now I would know that if, as a listing and selling real estate agent, I know my area. So I would sort those listings by date listed. I would find the date listed that was 80 days ago, knowing that every one of those 1,000 listings from then on, so say there's 600 of the 1,000 listings that are in the recent 85 days. That means there's 400 listings that are 85 days or older. Also knowing there's probably a 5-day window between when the agent signed that agency agreement and when it got uploaded to realestate.com. So if it's 85 days or older and I know about it, it's probably expired and lapsed over into an open listing. And somewhere in that 400 listings, I'm just going to call, dial, door knock if it's time effective or whatever. But I'm going to speak to as many of those 400 humans that have listed a property in my vicinity, within more than 85 days ago. And I am just going to call and beg. And I'm going to say, Mr. Seller, I have a buyer that is perfect for your property, knowing that I've got a database of buyers. And I am going to call and scream and say, may I run my buyer through your property? I'm almost certain that he is perfect for you. I would have a couple of buyers to run. And if that owner said yes, then the implied agreement is, well, Mr. Seller, I just can't do it unless you just sign this piece of paper, just a little document just to say that I'm allowed to. So I'm just going to sign it up as an open listing for 30 days. Just let me run this buyer through because it might just get your property sold for you. I can promise you, Ray, 1 out of 400 is going to say yes, and Zorba's life will be saved. Now, it ain't the prettiest listing. It ain't the best. But when it comes to Zorba, I'm going to make sure I have pen to paper and not leave anything to chance. And if that didn't work, Ray, I'd sell my own house. House on the market.
Okay.
There you go.
Lovely.
So it's not the greatest answer, but it's the honest answer.
What would you do, Ray?
Good question. Yeah, good question, Ray.
It's all about me. I would go to I would boot up Locked On or whatever CRM I have, and I would power search and power contact everybody on my list. I would be on a mission. I might get my listing in call 1 or call 100 or call 500, like a Greg McDaniel. Just power through the and my script would be, hi Glenn, reason I'm calling just to see, has anything changed since we last spoke? No, great, yes, bang.
Yeah, you could do 100 calls an hour with that methodology.
Quickly.
7 hours, you'd have 500 calls made ish. And
Yep.
It's
Hi, Glenn.
Actually, Ray, I do think about it.
Yep.
If it was me, and see, I'm unique in that I have a database of 20 or 30,000 real estate agents, but I've still got a database of 5,000 consumers from the Brisbane CBD from my real estate days. So the first thing I would, in hindsight, and now here's another tip that I would probably do, is go to that database, tell that database who knows me, likes me, trusts me, the stakes, and say, hey guys, this is really important. I need a property to sell. I will be giving that property my sole focus. It will be the one property that I dedicate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to until I get top dollar for.
Yep.
I need you guys to think about who on your in your sphere of influence, and that could include yourself. If an insane price came along, say $20,000 above, 20% above what your property is actually worth. So say your property is worth 500,000. If 600,000 was there, and I had an insane buyer that was willing to pay 20% above, would you sell today? Anyone who's the answer is yes, and there's 40,000 people I'm emailing this offer to, the first person that the answer is yes to, I'm going to come around and see, no promises, but I'm going to come around and see today and just get your signature on a piece of paper, and I'm going to see what I can do for you. There is one person who is going to get that opportunity, and there are 40,000 of you. Just hit reply if that's you. I reckon someone's going to say yes. Ray, I reckon your chalet up in the mountains there in Canada, if there was 30% above the market price for it, I reckon you'd list with me, just in case.
I might be sleeping by myself. I don't think Christine would be too happy about that. But
numbers will often be your friend. If you ask enough people a question, so hence that's the importance of Ray. There's this statement that this bugger made once, and I really hate him for making it, but the first part is dream big, and a lot of people, that's a great first two words. And the second part is take names. You take enough names, any question you ask, the big enough list, the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah. Well, here is totally agree. Here is my point, Glenn, insofar as going to your database. If you can't go to your database and be confident that you can get a listing, then you don't have enough contacts in there. Yeah. So there is a lot of the mentality, wake up and let's get a listing this morning. Let's get some. I need something today. I mean, let me know. Can we get some? Alan P says, "What twins, Basil?" Funny man.
He's a funny bugger, Alan. Have you spent much time with him? Because I've spent a lot of time as a student of his.
I'm trying to get him on the show. And,
Alan, get on Ray's show. He's great.
I'd love to.
Alan, if you're still on, Ray Wood is because Alan spoke at our last event with Arnold Schwarzenegger and all of that, and just a great dude. And Barbara came down. It was just magnificent. Alan, if you're still on, mate, Ray Wood's the real good. So jump on his
marketing genius that he is, Alan, and just so many good ideas, and just such a great speaker for if you get the chance.
Sold more books, non-fiction, than arguably any human alive.
Okay.
Arguably,
phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Cool.
Forget what point I was on.
I think you were saying you were going to the list and you were going to ask the crew. What they would do maybe to get a listing.
Can you let us know if just put a yes or a no if you need a listing?
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Who needs listing? Because there might be some people like over here in Perth where I actually got the heads up that listings are a bit easier here in Perth now. And it's buyers that are at a premium, which is rare in Australia. Normally it's a listing-centric world. But, so they're saying that because a lot of agents have left the industry in Perth because it's a bit tough, that listings are a little easier than historically, and it's buyers that are at a premium, which is rare. Hasn't been since the 90s, I would suggest, Ray, that was the case.
Matt Gray says yes. G'day, guys. While this is happening, Luke doesn't want one; he wants 50.
Luke,
Nice work.
good call, Luke. Good attitude, sir.
Andrew, Juliet, hi guys. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. A quick opportunity to say good morning to you, Brian. Good morning, Alex, Sasha, Luke, another Luke, Eric, Michelle, Tony, and boy, the list goes on and on and on. Chrissy, hi, how you doing? Good morning to you. So here's my point. Everybody's saying, yes, we need listings. Yes, we need listings. So, and my definition of a good listing.
Yeah, because someone mentioned always need good listings. That's a good point. The tactic I gave isn't a good listing. It's just a listing.
A listing. My definition of a good listing is a motivated seller. And that's probably another story for another day. Today's all about getting the listing. But if you need more listings, why wouldn't you use the two methods Glenn and I have just given you in the first 13 minutes of this live broadcast? Why wouldn't you tackle Glenn's expired listings on REA? Why wouldn't you go to your database and say, hi, Mary, hi, Mrs. Jones, Ray Wood here from ABC Realty. Reason I'm calling is to see if anything's changed since our last discussion. That's what, 8 seconds? Bang. Yes, no, okay, just checking. I'll keep in touch. Have a great day. Over and out.
Oh, Ray, I've got one for you. Let's challenge him. Here's the deal. All right, how many have we got? We got double the people on today than yesterday, Ray. Yep. And we had 1,000 views within a couple hours. So there's double the people. Here's my challenge, folks. And I'm going to go on the honor system because I have no way of proving this. The minute this podcast is done, this little excellent adventure is done. So it'll be done in about 45 minutes and we'll probably go over. So I'll probably be done in an hour or so. The first person to publicly on either Ray's wall or mine tell us that you booked an opportunity to list, because today's about getting listing opportunities, based on any of the strategies we talk about, based on making a call, going to your database, the first one to book a listing opportunity after this training and put it on one of our walls or put it on this thread or something, wins a $600 meet and greet ticket to meet Mark Burris at the upcoming event, who's our headliner.
Shut the front door.
Event. You get, all you got to do is book a listing opportunity and you get a $600 meet and greet. You meet Mark, you shake hands. The mentor show is dropped now. You get to be mentored for a little bit by Mark Burris, first person to succeed at doing something and get themselves a listing opportunity. So, and you know, the bonus you get, Ray, there's like a $5,000, $10,000 check they're going to get paid as well. But don't worry about that. It's the $600 ticket that's the prize here.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? I'd like, well, you've done that. I'm going to throw in a coaching call for a 60-minute coaching call.
Nice. Well, there's a $1,000, $2,000 value easy.
I'd love to connect with somebody and help out wherever I can. Nice. So
great prize. Great prize.
So go for it, guys. If that's nice. There's a couple of great ideas. But you know, I know what I was going to say, Glenn. There's this focus that we need listings now. In fact, there's a big trainer here in Canada and the US, and his name is Brian Buffini. I think you've probably heard of
Of course,
Brian.
yes, absolutely.
Really nice guy. However, we differ a little bit in our strategies. His strategy is to only focus on people and connect with people that really want to sell.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them in Australia. One in particular that I learned from. Great guy, but I agree. And I differ as well, Ray, because I think we're singing from the same page.
Yeah. So put aside my partnership in a CRM company like Locked On. Please put that aside, because this was my attitude long before that. And I do go back to the days of 3x5 cards.
Well, Ray, I would hesitate to say the reason you're a partner in a CRM is because it's not the horse before the cart. That's why you are.
Yeah. It's if you can take one thing away from this, everybody, is like just take a leaf out of Adrian Bowe's book. Like his whole KPI, Glenn, he doesn't care about targeting listings. He doesn't care about targeting sales. He's not even interested in listing presentations or appointments. His only KPI, the only thing he's interested in, is getting 150 new contacts into his business every month. That's because he knows from that good things flow. Yeah. So I love that idea. Like one single number. Let's not get confused with all of these different figures. Let's just remember one thing and strive for it. Now, okay, he's got a big team, but what can you do? What do you work 25 days a month? Could you not get one a day? Could you not attract I speak to some people. I was speaking to a guy a couple of weeks ago who's not a bad agent. He's not in the top, he's not a top agent in the top 5% or anything. But I said, how many contacts have you got? And he said, probably a few hundred. Guy in his 40s. And I said, boy, that's not a lot. Why wouldn't you have more than that? He said, I don't run into that many people. I said, well, how many open homes have you done in the last month? He said, oh boy, probably, 4 a weekend, 3 a weekend. I've probably done a dozen or so.
He should have thousands.
30% of your buyers, and I know this number can fluctuate, but 30% of your buyers are also sellers. So I haven't got a bucket here. Call it your bucket. Bring them all in. Show them the love. It takes, Aaron talks about it takes 18 to 20 points of contact to become a household name. Under 9 points of contact, they won't remember who you are. I think the rubber hits the road about 13 or 14, but up about 20, you're a household name. People will remember you. And the number one thing as far as prospecting is jump on the phone. Jump on the phone, jump on the phone. So here's another thing I want to talk just quickly about that before we get into some other methods. I'm a big fan, Glenn, of setting aside some time every morning. Talk about the big rocks. If you're not signing up a deal, if you're not at an open house, if you're not sitting down with a seller to get a price reduction, or if you're not doing a listing appointment, what's the next most important thing? It's got to be prospecting. So why wouldn't you knock that off first thing every day? If you're new to real estate, if you've got plenty of time, you've got to just go for it, and you've got to just block off as many as you can. Some big rocks. Yeah, I love that. Look at that.
I'm just getting rid of this for a minute. Wait a minute. There's a slide that kind of makes our point right here, and I wish my PowerPoint would be faster. Wait a minute. I'll go straight to it. Wait a minute. It makes your point here, Ray. There's a couple. Oh, bloody hell. Maybe I missed my point. I've lost my big rocks. No, I've deleted my big rock. Oh, there it is.
No, you haven't. I saw it before.
There it is. There you go. So this is kind of the big rock number 3. So I've whizzed through a few of them. I call it the power of the future bank. That when you meet them here, they don't know your name. So what you're saying is that a contact 9, they might not know your name or whatever. So whether our numbers here are differ, our principles are the same. Because Ray, it's interesting. I secret shopped personally 150 real estate agents with this as a script. Right now, it wasn't even me. It was my partner. It was 35 to 45-year-old females. It was my partner. It was my PA. It was a hired secret shopper, all of the same demographic, 35 to 45-year-old females. And this was their script when visiting an open home. It was, we're not really buying. We're just, we own a property down the road. We own a house down the road. We're just checking out prices. Now, Ray, what does that scream to the half-intelligent, agent?
That you could be a seller?
Oh my God, it's handing it to us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And Ray, if you don't know the stat, and I don't think I've shared it with you, so I don't know, but out of 150, how many agents did not even get to follow up contact point number 1 out of 150 based on your experience?
I've heard this and I forget the answer, but it was very low, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was insane. 109 out of 150 made 0 follow-up attempts whatsoever.
Yeah.
109. Now that's 2/3
Hey, it's not that
of
hard
the
to be
industry.
good, is it?
Yeah, 2/3 of the industry, Ray, don't even deserve to strap on a tie, mate.
No.
They shouldn't be lacing up the boots. It's crazy.
No, it is crazy. Well, Aaron says 18 or 20, you say 12, whatever. If you need more listings, just make more contacts.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Talked about opens because that's such a great way to contact people. And here's my little open script that because my radar is set. Yes, of course I want to sell a house, right? But my radar is set for a potential listing as well, because if I can do a good job in my marketing, I should be attracting future sellers, right? Some people say, that's the wrong thing to do, Ray. You should be focusing on the sale. Of course I'm focusing on the sale. I'm helping out. But as a courtesy, maybe I can help out. Better me be their agent to list them than Johnny down the road, because he's a shocker. I'm a better agent. I'm going to get them a better result, right? Like we were talking about yesterday. Mindset, back yourself. So here's my script. Glenn, if you came in, I'd probably say something like, "Hi, how you doing?" I'd hand you a flyer. And you may have already given some info, or you may not. I'd say something. Have you been through before?
Not this place. Yeah.
No. I'd say take a look around, or can I keep you posted with results? And one great qualifying question is to be able to say, would you like me to let you know if it's going to be sold?
Okay.
Just that one quick, simple thing, because the secret shopper who is a serious buyer will go and talk about a deer in the headlights. Will go, well, yeah, I would like to be informed. Okay, so then you've got to, can I keep you posted with the result? So a lot of people saying, are you selling a home first? Do you need to sell a property first? And I think that sets a potential seller off on the radar. They don't want to give their number because they don't want to be stalked, right? So there are other ways to approach that. So I just think that's pretty important. Yeah. Can I just talk quickly about this little flyer?
Oh, you teased it yesterday, Ray.
We spoke about this yesterday, and I'm going to show you. I was thinking about this, Glenn, and we haven't rehearsed this, but I wanted to talk about this. I was going to get my slide show up, but Alex Garden, who you can see at the bottom here, he did this. He's the guy who got fired, the 20-year-old who got fired, and he created this flyer in Jiggler, which is a company, full disclosure, that I'm involved with, and he got, over the space of the first, I think his first 12 months in real estate, using this one flyer. And I think he did some ridiculous amount, like in 6 months, he got a heap of extra listings and sales. He made like $250,000 in comm. In his first year in real estate, he won the Rookie of the Year or Rising Star Award, whatever Ray White in Queensland have. And I interviewed him for the show. His interview's already live, but he said, Ray, I just did what you guys suggested. I got it out there. Now, there is a formula to this, and I'm not going to go into it in detail now, but here's the thing. I would like to offer a copy of Direct Mail Power. I'll also give you my full listing presentation. And
that's tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's on converting. Let's talk about listing presentation and stuff tomorrow.
I know, but I'm just flagging this. I'm putting it out there, and the listing presentation as well, and I'll mention it tomorrow. Nice. If you jump into jiggler.com and sign up for a free account, you can create this. You can get it out there. This thing bloody works, Glenn. It's just absolutely brilliant. But there's a formula. I will send you the video, the formula. So all you need to do is email me, Ray@Jiggler, Jigglar. I'll write it down here. Sure. Sign up for a free account. So I am bribing you to make extra commission, and I'm not charging you anything. In fact, I'm giving you stuff.
And Ray, look at this. Let's just take a pause. I love this, Ray. Now that's called a shameless bribe, folks. That's called a shameless bribe, and rightly so. You should avail yourself of that. So Ray down in the comments is putting his email, which is right there right now. And while I was looking at you doing that, Ray, look at what Jack Hackett said 2 comments below yours. Hi, Ray and Glenn. Can you see that? I just jumped off to call someone who has an expired listing and just booked an appointment tonight. Am I the first to get the prize? I'll confirm tonight that I've secured the listing and even do a live on Facebook to say I got the tip from you too. I don't
hold up the listing agreement. I love it. Well done,
Jacqueline Hackett. That is well done. I would just say, Jacqueline, let's break that down if you can, Jack. Can you just quickly share with us, maybe in the comment there, in that time, did you Google their phone number? Like, how did you, or were you already tracking that expired? And if so, Jack, credit to you. And yes, you do absolutely win. Well done. Before the podcast is over, Ray, before the interview's over.
Amazing. That's action.
Yeah.
That's action. So jiggler.com, just sign up. It's a free account. There's no strings attached. It will be changing soon, so I don't know how long the free account thing's going to last, but I'll talk about it tomorrow. That's all I want to say about it. But I will send you this. I will send you my listing pres as well. So all you need to do, just in summary, is join up. Let me know that you've joined up, and I'll send you all the goodies.
Ray, you got a stat on that letter? Because I love it when we can find a letter with some, I know that there's variables that are out of our control. Our area might be different. Our demographic might be different, etc. But if you personalized it to the street, as you've done, Johnson Street, so you personalize it to that street, have you got a number per 100 of a response percentage range that an agent might expect? Would it be 1 out of 100? Would it be 3 out of 1,000? Have you got a range that we might, rule of thumb, expect from that one? What do you think?
Here are my notes from when I spoke to Alex, Glenn, a couple of weeks ago. And I will tell the formula, because if I don't share this, it's not going to make sense. Mm-hmm. So This is what he did. He created a flag on realestate.com.au or on domain or whatever. He's in Biwa in the sunny coast. And he created a flag so he would be informed every time there was a listing that came onto the market. In the window between 6 days and 10 days on the market, he would drop 100 to 120 of these flyers in and around where the listing had come up. So if the property's in Mary Street and Johnson Street's on the corner, he'd drop Johnson Street as well. So people who would be aware, I call it something of a phenomena. When a property comes on the market, magically others come onto the market. It's an absolute no-brainer. So he would do that. He would go around, and he dropped 100 to 120. Now, you or I or anybody listening to this, we could drop 120 in an hour and a half, or I don't know how long it's going to take, depends. But he got it in and he got it out, but he labelled it specific to the street because that really speaks to me. If I own real estate in Johnson Street and I'm going, yeah, I've seen that house on Mary Street around the corner, maybe we should sell too, because maybe that property is going to attract a heap of buyers and they'd also see our property so we can get twice the number of buyers, blah, blah, blah. It's the way people think, whether it's right or whether it's wrong. Hey, I don't think it's totally illogical. Who cares? Marketing is in the eye of the client, right? Or what they say, beauty is in the eye of the client. Yes, I love it. So he would do that. Here are the numbers. For every 100 or he'd get them out. I think he did 4 or 5 a week. He did it pretty solidly. He would get 3 to 4 appraisals every week. And from that, he would get 2 to 3 sales each month.
Okay. So that's, if you work that out, if you rule of thumb, just under 1%, that's pretty damn good for a real estate flyer response percentage, because most of the times, like,
sorry, Glenn, to interrupt. Oh, there's his average com. I wrote it down, 14K, and I calculated his sales at 200. It's $250,000 for a 21-year-old. It's brilliant. I love it.
Nice. And I love the strategy, Ray. It's simple, it works, and anyone can do it. It's just, it's just a bit of a pain in the butt. To heaven forbid, go to Jiggler, get a free account. Whack it out there, make a commission, then, stay a member of Jiggler for goodness sake. Because if a free account gets you a $12,000 check, then heaven forbid what a paid account might get you,
Check it out. Look, it's easy to use, but right now it's free. I don't know how long it's going to be free, but if you want it, grab it. So I'd love to give you the episode as well. I'll see if I can find it while we're talking. So, but that is, so we've kind of covered 3 things, haven't we? We've got your expired listings, and boy, we know so many. Who was it? Oh, Emmy Thies from Toowoomba. He's mad on expired listings. That's her go, because I asked her during an interview, Emmy, what would you do if you had to get a listing? I'd go expireds. Yeah. Now, in many places, the market's softening. All right, so there's going to be more expireds. When the market's on fire, it's hard a tough sell.
Yeah, that's right. Sydney, Melbourne for the last year, don't bother. But now a lot of my guys in Sydney are starting to get them again.
Yep. Sutherland Shire, they say that prices are down 10 or 15% in the last 6 months just south of Sydney. So, if that's kind of typical of what's going on, there's going to be more properties out there. And the guy that thought he was going to get 1.2, maybe he's not going to get 1.2 anymore. Maybe he's going to get 1 or 1.1 or something. So maybe his expectations haven't been managed correctly and he's still motivated to sell. He's not happy with his agent. Things are on the nose. Expired listings. So we've done database, expired listings, and the street sign letter, which you can download, print and download straight from Jiggler. You can customize it with all of your information, all the instructions there. If you need any help, let me know. What else, Glenn? What are the other?
We've kind of talked about hunting a little bit. We've talked about going out and catching and killing a lot, that we need to get a listing today. And certainly, there's a variety of things that we could do, be it door knocking till our fingers, bleed and our shoes have no leather, and phone calling until, like Jay Stanley's is literally be on the phone talking and prospecting on one ear while he is dialing the next phone call, because he gets a bit of a cadence, and then he hangs up. He says, "Hi, it's Jay here," and he's got 2 phones going. Magnificent. So you can churn that stuff out to hunt, catch, kill to get listings now. But I'm certainly of the opinion that, sure, do that temporarily while you get some momentum. But I'd love to have a chat about, marketing strategies, be they fishing, be they dangling out a piece of bait that you might want in order to get the fish that might be interested in what it is that you've got to offer, or be that farming. be that planting seeds today in order to harvest 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now, and really truly living that future bank methodology, knowing that for every 30 people Adrian Bowe puts into his database every week, or 37 and a half people he puts into his database every week, knowing that in the future bank, if he does his job right, that is $300,000 worth of commission he just banked that week. A week. You know, it's just the patience to cultivate that crop that he has planted. And to the degree that he can water, nurture, and that seed that he planted, based on that, if he does a 50% good job, he'll bank $150,000 of that $300,000 in potential commission over the next decade.
Crazy.
Maybe let's talk about fishing and farming just quickly, even though we are all about what Jack did, and that's get a listing presentation today. And she did it. Jacqueline Hackett just proved you could do it within minutes of getting the advice here. But maybe let's talk about the way, because Ray, I can tell you this. The reason that I do what I'm doing now and not what these guys that are doing, not what you're doing now, right, is my inability to put up with the rejection of prospecting long-term. I couldn't do it. I tolerated it for 3 or 4 years, but I could not do it. And that's why I traveled the world to learn how to market, to get those 2 people out of 100 that weren't going to tell me to piss off in some way, shape or form. How could I get them to call me rather than me calling them? You know what I mean? So I sort of alluded to the first one, Ray, being the author of your own book, which you and I both are advocates of. You know, that's a way. If you dangle out a copy of your book or your Sell for More book or whatever the case may be, that's certainly a piece of bait that a home seller might bite on. You know, do you want to talk about fishing? What are some of the pieces of bait we can put out that sellers might bite on?
I'm huge on this at the moment, and it's thanks to you that I am, and this is why. Scott Lackman, you told me about Scott. We were on a call, and you said, "Ray, watch this. Who should I use to sell? Who should I sell with on the Sunshine Coast in Caboolture?" And then bang on Facebook, people going, Scott Lackman, Scott Lackman. That was over 2 years ago, Glenn. So Scott has started his own website where, and you can check it out. I'll write it in the, it's called 4510tv.com, 4510tv.com. And you know the story, I know the story, but just really quickly, Scott interviews business leaders, other people in business. He interviews the local karate champion or the kid who's just won the soccer, and he gets them on his show and he gives them a voice. I actually wrote the quote down because I just interviewed Scott again for the show, and he said that where is it? Can't find it. I am the voice. Here it is. A vehicle for others to share their story. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. A vehicle for others to share their story. So there you go. Well done. So people are seeking out Scott. And let's talk about eyeballs, because, you know, so many people are doing these these videos. And don't get me wrong, some of these videos are gorgeous. But Glenn, in I think 4 years, Scott's had 2.6 million views to his website. It's bloody phenomenal.
Yep.
And I can't work out, and Scott and I were trying to do this, why aren't other people doing it? Maybe they're a bit shy or whatever, but boy, I mean, he said, you know what? I don't need to door knock. I don't really need to do much prospecting. I'm too busy. I just do one of these a week and the business comes to me. He wasn't, you know, he genuinely cares for his, look at that. Go back to the one where he's branded on his T-shirt. This is awesome. See that? And here's my thing about marketing. You don't see a Richardson and Wrench logo there, do you? I don't think there is there?
It's on the main website. It's subtle,
it might be on the website,
and that's the point. It's subtle. See that?
It's not on his.
Powered by R&W, as if they're a sponsor.
Okay, but look at his T-shirt and look at the logo, and it's 4510, which is the Caboolture postcode in Queensland. Yeah. So he's keeping his message about his market. So he's turned the camera away from himself, kinda, and put it on Caitlin Jolly or these other people, Michael Brady, Moreton District Police Update. And by the way, guys, people love a crime report. If you do a newsletter, virtual or otherwise, include the crime numbers on it. It's one of the most popular things I'll just mention that by the by, but people love to check out the crime reports or neighbourhood watch stats in their area. So I'd get a video going. Like, what's it cost you? Seriously, here's your phone. Just go and connect and just start videoing. You can just get somebody to hold it for you. It doesn't cost you any money. You can upload it. You can get it to YouTube, and you can start building your library of information. So
yeah, don't wait. My take on that. Oh, ditto, Ray. And with that one, because I've been working with Scott for some years now, he's just and a lot of my students, they find one or two of the menu of weaponry, whether it's farming, fishing, hunting tactics, all of the above. And very rarely does anyone kind of do maybe like a Chris Gilmore and do everything. Right. But Chris kind of did everything. He followed Aaron Shiner and worked with Aaron and inputted a lot of what Aaron taught him and, everything I taught him. He's a real sponge, but that's the exception to the rule. Very few people have the capacity to do that. Most people, like Scott, find one or two of the things that we talk about and implement them and go all in. And it's interesting that mostly that's all it takes. Certainly Scott has shown that one thing of the TV station. He's a local hero out there because of that thing, and he doesn't have to prospect. So it's the ultimate, in my opinion, of farming. He just plants seeds every week in the form of those interviews. And the point I wanted to make there is, don't wait until you've got Scott. Don't call Scott and say, "Hey, Scott, what microphone have you got? Because I need the perfect microphone before I start." Or, "Scott, what camera did you film on? Because I need to get that camera before I start." Don't let perfect get in the way of started. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just do your first one, because no one's going to be watching your first one anyway. Just get it started to get some momentum, get better equipment along the way, get better, tactics along the way, but just make a move is the thing.
See, you and I know you're getting a podcast going. I've been podcasting for a couple of years. I'm not going to lie, there is a little bit of work in that. But as far as I don't know what I've done with my phone, but as far as getting your phone together and use that for marketing, it's so easy. You can just upload it. And here's the thing about creating content. Here's the thing. Back in the day, pre-1994, before the interwebs, if you wanted to put an ad in the paper, by the next day, poof, it's gone. It's yesterday's news. And it cost a fortune, right? Now, I can create a video called 10 Things You Must Know Before You Sell in Coolaroo or Cooperoo or wherever you might be, or Caboolture, or some suburb starting with C, Collingwood. Go the Kangas. So my point is, get yourself a platform, and when you create that content, it's always there, it's always living, and it's always getting views. You check out some of these videos, and it doesn't need to be. You look at some of Scott's early stuff. It's, by his own admittance, it's pretty ghetto, Glenn. And he's not, and he's just got polished, and he's nervous and he's fidgety, but he just did it. Like, what somebody, and here's something to think about, guys, because I know there's, we all get a bit self-conscious. Oh, what will the other people in my office think? Who gives a continental what they think?
Unless they're paying you a $10,000 check, Ray, their vote don't count.
No. Do you think Glenn or I care what anybody else thinks? I mean, we attract the people that we want to attract.
No, you can't throw me in that, Ray. I'm a bit of a sook, mate. I literally am a sook. Ray, that's why I couldn't prospect. I couldn't handle the rejection of the 97 people out of 100. Yeah. I'm a big sookie lala. That's why I learned how to be a marketer, Ray, so that only people who dig me come my way. Yeah. That's kind of one of the things that I used my sookie lala. I was described once by one of my mentors as having a pathological need to be loved. Yeah. He didn't mean it complimentarily. He meant it as an insult, because I'm not a big fan of, that is one of my flaws, is that, and I know it's right to do what Ray said, to not care what other people think, but it is.
Somebody once told me, it might have been a Tony Robbins, or it might have been one of these early audio mentors that I had, or whatever. But if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, I used to ring people up to 9:30 at night because they were home. And every now and again, I'd go, "Dude, what are you doing? You realize what the time is?" Yeah. Which is, I probably wouldn't do that now, but I accepted early on that not everybody is going to love me, but I'm going to do this. And here was my thing. What somebody thinks of me is none of my business. Yeah. So here's my ghetto slideshow.
A platform.
Get yourself a platform. Get one thing. Get a video channel. Get a cracking newsletter going. So just one thing. Get a podcast going. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to give you the middle finger there, Glenn. Just do that. Do one thing that's going to work and stick to it and keep going. Because if you've got a podcast going, or if you've got a video channel going, you're already in the 1% of agents. And here's something else. If you don't do that in your area ASAP, somebody else is probably going to do it. And who remembers number 2?
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to be number 1.
Absolutely. So, that first to market advantage is like, it's been hard, not impossible, but it's been hard for Spotify to knock iTunes off the music, because they were the first to the mobile music market. So I'm not saying it's difficult, but not saying it's impossible, but let me just say, Spotify have had a tough time competing with first to market player mover advantage. So, definitely what Ray has said is build a platform. My way of wording that is that you're an education, entertainment, and marketing company, right? And the way, so for example, your own book as an author, whether that's, again, me or any of the agents I'm talking about. But here's the great man. Adrian Bowe put up on his Instagram the other week. It just perfectly worded it. Adrian Bowe Inc. is a marketing company, i.e. a platform that just happens to be in real estate. And that's absolutely the case. And by the way, subtle, shameless plug there, Ray. Adrian Bowe will be featuring the upcoming $1 Million Agent Summit on tour. So do avail yourself of those tickets. There you go, Ray. I can plug too, brother.
If you missed out on that, guys, no, definitely, Glenn. We should have talked about that earlier.
No, it's all good, man. No, I'm here to give, my friend. I'm here to give.
Check it out. Give the URL, please, Glenn. I'll put it here in the...
Yeah, it's $1millionagentsummit.com.au. But I tell you, if you're anywhere, you've seen about 1 billion ads for it. So just click on one of those ads and we'll see you there. It's next week, Ray. Today, 1 week from now, we start in Brisbane.
Sydney, Melbourne, Perth.
Actually, I think Scotty Lackman's going to be there. So come and see Scott. I'll probably drag him up on stage and give him a high five and a hug, because he's clicked over the 7-figure mark. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, Ray. He clicked over the 7-figure mark, built himself a $1 million business just by loving the crap out of his community. I mean, that's the epitome of the future bank. He is planting seeds everywhere, watering them like a farmer nurtures that crop, and trusts that crop will reward him when it's harvest time.
Yeah. Do you know what? He'll probably tell you this story, but I'd love to share it because he talked about it on our interview a couple of weeks ago. He's involved with a group that locally have bought some land on a quarry, and they've turned it into a
the man shed.
Yeah. And it's for guys who can use some help and need their confidence boosting, but what an amazing community effort. What a beautiful community thing to be doing. So that wasn't Red Bull that you were drinking.
I know, bro. It was. I've been no sleep. My apologies. I tried to hide it by turning the cam off.
Oh no, really? That's okay. I'm sorry about that.
Here. No, I'm dying. It's my equivalent of coffee.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Now I'm in trouble. Ray's out of me.
I've obligated you into this 4 sessions. So
no, it's all good.
I haven't got a whole lot more to say about that. About prospecting. I think we've given everybody a whole heap of ideas. I would also focus. I guess I've got one thing more to say, but find the ideas that work. Whether it's a jiggler street sign flyer or whatever it might be, find something and stick to it. So many agents, Glenn, chop and change. This didn't work. They're onto something new next week. Or they got a new email from Tommy Panos who says try this, and then they try that. I mean, honestly, don't care whose ideas you follow, but follow somebody's and stick to them, right? Stick to them. Give them 6 months. Give them a red hot go. And you can, here's the thing. Somebody woke up in your area this morning and decided to sell. If they didn't call you, it can only be because they don't know you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So reach out and connect with those people that are going to be selling tomorrow.
Well, what I would say, Ray, the only thing I would add to that, and it's certainly we don't have time to kind of go into it with any depth whatsoever, but I would throw out there the concept of personal branding
And what I mean by that is what Scott did, what a bunch of you guys have seen, you know, many of my students do or whatever. And that's get your face on freaking everything so they do know you. You know, one of the gifts that I'm giving to some of my students now, if ever they are, you know, spending too much time online, I send them this mouse pad, right? Click from place to place, but don't forget face to face. So now, and that's got a little hand rest thing there. So now my face, with a reminder that they need to get out and nose toes to toes with the bodies, me and Naomi's personal brand is now staring at them whenever they're at the computer, you know? Yep. So, you know, my book, there's 10,000 copies of these bastards just sitting over there in a shed, ready to ship out so that my face is sitting there on a bookshelf. Flyers, you know, branding up even something as simple as your appraisals instead of just, let me just go to share my screen. There we go. Instead of just, where are we? I'm sure I've got it here. Wait a minute. One of my other slideshows. Here we go. So, instead of just doing an RP data printout that is stapled together and looks like crap, maybe brand up and nicely bind and seal your appraisals in a branded property price report instead of a CMA. You know, so that way, this thing here, see, what happens to your couple of stapled pieces of paper printed out from RP data? It goes in the bin. But what happens to this document with a recommended retail price of $199 that you've gifted to those people, and you've said to them, look, and you know, normally this does retail, you know, when you buy property analytics and data, we purchase this stuff on in bulk. So I'm happy to have gifted you this property price report instead of you having to purchase it elsewhere. And there are websites online now that sell the data. Like, you know, there was a bunch of my guys historically that when RP data started to charge for like CMAs for property price, whatever, they were mad. And I'm like, they just did you the biggest favor in the world by charging the consumers for what you can provide them for free. So that document, if it's nicely heat bound, or worst case scenario, you know, those machines that you bind them up or whatever.
How do they go again?
You know, those machines. It's the professionalism they come back for, right? You know, so that's got some stick. That's going to stick around in the shelf or whatever, because it's hard to take that booklet, that report with a value of $199, or take this marketing piece with a recommended retail price of whatever that says on there, $24.95 or $29.95. It's hard to take that and throw it in the bin. It's very
totally.
So I would just throw out there the concept of, now I'm not saying that this isn't what to do. What to do isn't to write a book, even though you should. What to do isn't to brand up some mouse pads, even though you should, or do property price reports or whatever. It's how to think. It's how to think. It's not what to do, it's how to think. It's how do I get my personal brand to be in front of those consumers in every media imaginable, so that when it comes time to sell, the only human they know is Scott Lackman. The only human they know is Chris Gilmore, Aaron Shiner in his area. All those names you know have successfully done that principle I'm talking about in some way, shape, or form. So there you go. Your town, your report. Very nice.
So this is something, guys, you can make in Jiggler. You can jump in and you can edit this. You know, this is Noosa Head, so you know you can make it Bondi, whatever. That's the front side. You can do it just as easy as that. Change the photo, get Aaron out of there. You know, do whatever you need to do. There's another report there that is a lead generator. There's the back of it, right? So it's just a simple 2-page report. There's the sales. You're featuring the properties. You can load fresh photos in there. It's super easy to edit. So, so I just mentioned that. You might need to upgrade it. In fact, if you want to do that in Jiggler and you want to upgrade and you want 30 days free on the house, let me know and I will send you the promo code so you can check that out. So
very nice. Get in there and make all this stuff, guys. And that's the key, Ray. It's implementing, and really that does hark back to yesterday. You know,
I reckon
probably too many ideas for an hour. You know, we've talked about some principles, we've given some specific strategies or whatever, but the key is implementation now. And that harks back to your mindset. What's your mindset that we talked about yesterday around getting things done? versus just listening to us and getting excited for a minute. But then when you get back to your office and you've finished, it's Tuesday morning, so you might have a sales meeting this morning or something, and you get caught up in when they're telling you about, make sure you're accurate on your paperwork. We've had some listing agreements that didn't have the right signatures on it and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the principal gives you a serve and then you leave and you're at your desk. And all of the enthusiasm from this morning's 7 a.m. or 5 a.m. meeting or whatever just slips away, you know? Yeah. How do we implement, Ray? What's your take? Give the guys some advice on what we should do today about implementing.
The issue, Glenn, I call it failure to launch, right? You've built your rocket. It's on the pad. There's people around with their cameras. Everybody's ready. You've done the countdown and then just nothing happens. So there seems to be this reluctance. People go right through the process. You've just got to launch. And I know, you know, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Things need to look great. And I think I'm a bit better now. I'm probably borderline OCD on a lot of that stuff. Or as Christine says, I'm OC. No, what is it? Attention deficit. Oh, shiny. ATOS. She calls it attention deficit. Oh, shiny. I'm onto something else. So they call me Snapchat. I don't hang around for long. But I would suggest. You know, we talked yesterday about the 5-second rule. If you know you've got to do something and you know this is good for you, take the medicine, eat your broccoli, get in and do it. And the prospecting is the hard thing. And you hit on it before. You talked about you honest enough to talk about your reluctance, like you couldn't handle that rejection. My take on that is you got to get to a few no's before you get a yes, and that is going to happen. And don't be afraid of it. And if your ticker starts to beat a little bit faster, then that's rock and roll. That's what we're here for. So I would make that commitment just to do it. Just block out, switch off Facebook, switch off all the distractions, switch off your email. And if you don't have enough stock, dedicate 9 to 11, 5 days a week to do it. Because like I said before, if you're not doing those other things, signing up a listing, doing a listing presentation, putting a sale together or getting a price reduction, you should be prospecting.
Yeah, nothing.
And make prospecting number one. That's what it's all about. And if you've got plenty of listings now and you've got plenty of contacts coming in and your pipeline's getting fatter and fatter and fatter, next thing you know, you need to hire an assistant.
Well, next thing you know, I'll be tapping you on the shoulder. Hey, come and speak at one of my events.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. You get a gig at one of Glenn's shows. So that's my take on it, Glenn. I guess just get in and do it and make it happen. And you know, like who wouldn't like a couple of extra listings, you know, this month of coming up of May? You know, what's your average com? Is it $10,000 or $12,000? Boy, that's going to pay a little bit of tax, or that's going to, you know, put bread on the table. That's exciting. So,
definitely. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to leave them with this about getting listing opportunities is break it down based on your numbers into how much that's worth. Meaning if you convert half of your listing opportunities into listings, say, and they are a $10,000, $12,000 check and you're on a 50-50 split. Now, I don't know about the numbers there, but that might mean that every single time someone says yes to you to talk to you, it might be $2,000. And then grab $2,000 in cash out of the bank. And if you can't, then, you know, maybe you've got to do a bit more of this work. And just remember what $2,000 in cash kind of looks like. I did that once, Ray, for a photo shoot. I accidentally had $8,000 in my little briefcase thing because I had it for a photo shoot and then I was going straight to a talk that I was doing at All Properties Group, an in-house office training session. So I had $8,000. I thought, shit, I've got $8,000 in there. So I pulled it out in the middle of my talk and I said, you know, most of your commissions are even more than this. And I don't know if you know, Ray, but $8,000 when you've got different denominations, when you hold it up, it looks like a freaking million, right? It looks like $1 million. And I was like, what would happen? Yeah, that's right, 1 million. I kind of look like it. What would happen? And I said to them this. I said, here's this 8,000, right? This is what you're fighting for. And what would happen if you were on the City Cat in Brisbane and you went over a bump in the river and you dropped $8,000 in the slimy old sewage-ridden brown Brisbane River? What would you do? And most of them said they would jump in and frickin' get it, right? Yeah. Because there's $8,000 that they're letting go. And yet, what happens if they don't make that prospecting call? They go, I'll get to that tomorrow. Or what happens if, heaven forbid, our subject for tomorrow, which is how to convert these listings once we're called in, what happens if you're not good enough on the day and they list with your competitor? What do you say? Shucks, better luck next time, can't win them all, and all of these sorts of things. You know what you should be saying? It rhymes with shucks, but it ain't shucks. You know what I mean? We should, I recommend we should be fighting for these listing opportunities like it was cash. I mean, genuinely, imagine if your competitor who you lost that listing to walked into your reception, grabbed $8,000 off your reception thing that you left there just for a minute while you went to get out for a coffee. And as you walked out, you saw them wink at you with your $8,000. You couldn't do anything about it. They thanked you for your lack of skill, and they walked out with your money and off to spend it on their family. What you do, and you knew, and here's the thing, Ray, you knew why. You knew it was because they dropped their fee and they overpromised on the price they could get for the sale. Do you think you would move hell or freaking high water to listen to us tomorrow on how to deal with those problems so that never, ever, ever happens again? And yet, do we act that way in this business historically? My answer is most of us don't. Most of us don't treat those listing opportunities and those listings with the monetary respect that you treat the real thing. You treat cash. And it's almost like they can't make, many of us, and when I say they, I mean us, because I was the same, Ray, until that was brought to my attention. We don't make the correlation between that activity and the reward. You know? And that could even go one step further, Ray. You could break that down into how many phone calls does it take to get that listing opportunity. Say it took 50 phone calls to get that that $2,000. Hell, that's $40 a phone call, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Every time I get told to piss off, someone's paid me $40. Hello, puppy. Look at you.
It's Roxy.
Hey, Roxy.
Say good day to Glenn.
Hello, puppy.
Hi, Glenn. How you going? Ray's got to feed me now. I'm really hungry. I know you're hungry. We won't be long.
All right, let's wrap it up, Ray. What are we going to talk about tomorrow? We're talking about converting these things. Yeah, listing pres tomorrow, Roxy, and then we're going to be wrapping things up on Thursday with getting to sold. So tomorrow is important, guys. Now, is it serious? Now, Ray, let me. I need to get a verbal contract from you, Raymond Wood. Now, I don't know if I have this in writing or if I maybe am misinterpreting. But you've trained some of the best agents around the game. You've converted countless listings yourself, and you've trained others to do so. Are you gifting your listing presentation to these folks tomorrow? We see and jawohl. Wow. That means yes, folks. Good job, man. That's I'm going to give you, it's a big document. I'm also going to show you how you can listen to the whole thing as well. So I'm also going to tell you and share why I think it's the most important thing that you can have in your business. Because, and here's just one thing. If a listing presentation comes up this afternoon and you don't convert it, that's a loss. I don't care what you say in anybody's language, that's a loss. And you're actually funding your competitor's business, right? They've walked into reception, taken your money and gone and spent on their straight off the table. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my listing pres. I'm going to share the pre-listing kit. I'll show, I'd love to tell you it was mine, Glenn, but it's R&D. I've borrowed it from some pretty awesome people, but I'll be sharing all of that tomorrow. So love it. It's going to be big, folks. Everybody. All right, Ray. Good job. Been a blast. Dream big and take names. See you, Ray. See you guys. Take care. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Bye for now, folks. See you tomorrow, 7 a.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, bye for now, folks. Wow. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode. If you liked that, then what you need to do is you need to subscribe. You need to get more of this craziness because we got more coming. I'm never standing still, and we've got so many more guests. We've got so many more strategies, more out-of-the-box thinking. So if you haven't subscribed, literally, you're like throwing away thousands of dollars. Because I tell you, if you haven't subscribed, you don't come back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find you, I'm going to market to you, and I'm going to charge you for the very stuff that on this podcast we give away for free. So whack that subscribe button on whatever your favorite podcast weapon of destruction is, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.